TeaDragon, why don't you go ahead and do the honors of introducing our first player here?
That's right. So, our first player playing for the team of, let me take a look. Storm Gaming, hailing from Mexico, but currently residing in Korea, I believe. It is our turn player, Special.
And playing for Dragon Phoenix Gaming, he is our blue Protoss. We saw him with a dominant series against Solar. Can he replicate it? He is ZEST. Oh boy, everybody's already, or at least one of the guys is spamming Dorito emote in the chat for Special.
Yeah, don't they? Or actually, no, that would be Big Gabe. I was about to say Big Juan, but I mean, that's not a bad nickname either. You know, of course, Special having a very almost religious following in the StarCraft community. Well deserved, of course.
One Step 77 asking if somebody can update the Wikipedia page. Yeah, we would love someone to update it, but I mean, I guess it's understandable. I mean, it's currently 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. in the Eastern time, so that some of the editors might be sleeping at this moment, but hopefully someone will be editing that and updating that. But in the meantime, we are here in game number 1 on Beckett Industries, and look at what we have here. Special actually proxying one of his racks outside, and let me go ahead and just double check. Did ZEST scout it? No, actually he did not scout it. Alright, looks like we have a little bit of some shenanigans coming out here for Special. Looks like it's going to be Reaper openings.
Now, off of 1 gas, is that indicative of Reapers only? Because it looks like that's what we're seeing here.
I think he's just going to stick with 3 or maybe 4 the most. I don't see him making any more because, yeah, like you mentioned, he did not get that second gas, which means that he's probably going to transition and limit the amount of Reapers.
Right. Now, is this Adept going to scout anything?
Oh, run.
Oh, man.
A little bit of a cat and mouse chase right here in the open. And oops, looks like I have the ESL logo there. I'm gonna have to make sure to remove that during the after the game here. But this is not the ESL Pro Tour. This is actually the Brawlers Club number 6. And here we go. Reaper is going to go ahead and start sniping at these probes here. 3 total. Can he make it a 4th? The answer is yes. So 4 probes, 1 adept for 3 Reapers. I would say that is a pretty successful one. Give it a little bit of an advantage to Special. Not game ending or anything like that, but I think Special should be happy with that opening.
I'm curious to see what the Robo Bay is going to be for. I do like my disruptors, especially if anybody has been keeping up with the current GSL season, but you know, Colossi are definitely not a bad choice, but yeah, the choice of Splash is definitely going to be something to watch as we head into the mid game here.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, some of the best games I feel like are in disruptor games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's harder in PvT because the mobility of the bio units can split easier and kite easier, but I mean, doesn't change the fact that when you get that magic moment, when that orange ball goes into a clump of bio units. It's just, I don't know, man. As a Protoss player, it does feel satisfying. I'm sure all the Terran players are like, what are you talking about? Are you crazy? But I'm not gonna lie, I do like my disruptor hits.
Oh, definitely. I'm sure any non-Protoss who off races as Protoss would definitely agree with that statement, but it does look like it's going to be Colossi. We see Thermal Lance about halfway done, and the second Colo is on its way out.
Okay, a little bit of a weird movement of the Colossus. I was like, why is he moving out in the middle? Is he doing like that early pressure timing? But looks like it was just a bad rally here. We'll fix it.
Probably left over from the Observer rally, I believe.
Yeah, that always sometimes happens. Kind of like, you know, when you're a Zerg player, you almost sometimes make that weird one swarm host. And even though you're not going for swarm host,
you cannot have a good series without the accidental swarm host. That is something that I've learned from watching many games.
All right, looks like we have a little bit of a kind of a backdoor harass here, or attempt to harass by this Raven. We'll get thwarted off, as I believe the Observer did scout out that Raven. But oh, we have ourselves a double medevac drop here. Now, this could actually do some damage, as a lot of the units of ZEST is actually out of position. So let's see if that does for... Oh, never mind. Absolutely perfect positioning, and ZEST will thwart off at this drop here. I don't know about you, TeaDragon, but it just seems like Special trying to harass ZEST, but unsuccessfully thus far.
Yeah, I was just about to say, you know, that double drop was quite promising, but, you know, ZEST just being on top of it. Now, imagine if this were a lower level player as the Protoss, and they had clumped up all of their Colo into one sort of big Stalker Colo death ball. And that is obviously the more common scenario, but ZEST had the foresight and the scouting to sort of, you know, to prevent the double drop from happening and prevent a lot of damage from going down. So, yeah, definitely not what Special wanted, but we will have to see how the main engagement goes, because of course that was just a sort of side engagement and will definitely not determine the outcome of the game.
Yeah. Alright, looks like Special is going to go ahead and try to establish his dirt base. But he definitely wants to push out, because ZEST, he has been kind of economically in a good spot, as he's already getting his 4th base before Special is even establishing his dirt base. He has really not suffered any probe kills damage, especially, I mean, besides the initial, you know, initial 3 or 4 probes in the beginning of the game. But besides then, yeah, this looks like... Oh, actually, hold that thought. There is a huge sandwich here. Zettel's charge are coming on the backside, but on the front line is getting absolutely destroyed here by the tanks.
Oh man, those tanks definitely doing their damage. So I'm not actually sure how ZEST is going to defend this now that the first sort of sandwich attempt did not go as planned.
Yeah, that was a good plan, but the execution kind of botched, because the charge line actually went to another clump of units, and so the tank line stayed strong. Looks like he will finally able to clean up the rest of the tanks, but there are still a lot of bio units left over here. Just gotta be careful not to overextend.
Yeah, I don't know if this bio positioning is on purpose, but it's definitely working out in Special's favor, as he was able to sort of fend off the sandwich, as you mentioned earlier, with the backline charge loss, not really able to get on the core units, and then of course just now another warp in of Zealots that were able to clean up the tanks finally, but then all of a sudden this huge massive bio came in from behind.
Yeah. Now, of course, ZEST, he he still has his 4 bases, but his tech or his army kind of got reset a bit. He's currently only on like mainly gateway units, and he's trying to replenish those Colossus. But he did make a DT shrine earlier on, and we have yet to see that in action. I would love to see him kind of start spreading some of those DTs and harassing the Terran while he's replenishing the Colossus army. And maybe even add in some. Oh, actually, never mind. He is going to wait till the DT Blink upgrade is done. Okay, that makes sense.
I love DT Blink. It's always so easy to underestimate it. But yeah, also I find that in a lot of these matchups, Protoss versus Terran, it's funny because the Protoss, it's quite common actually to go for DT shrines later on in the game, and then I almost find myself wanting to call it a safety DT shrine, even though there's nothing safe about DTs.
Oh yeah, they're not the safe kind. They're like a bunch of ninjas just coming out of nowhere, hacking down your house.
Alien ninjas. Man, now we're talking.
Alright, here we go. Another skirmish here out in the open. DTR revealed though. Did he see that? Yeah, he does scan and does see the edge of the DT. So he knows that DTs are out and about. Luckily for him, he does have some turrets spread out. For the time being, he will try to turtle up here, as there are, looks like 2 tanks here.
We also see some ghosts on the high ground. So once they come into play, I think that ZEST will find a much more difficult time. Now, he, of course, has not been able to break his opponent yet, who, by the way, it's 12 minutes and Special is still mining off of just 3 bases, about to take a 4th. But yeah, once those ghosts come into play, I feel like the army of ZEST is going to be even less effective than it already is.
Yeah, maybe ZEST can start adding those disruptors that you mentioned earlier on. I think that will be very helpful
yes.
Against the ghosts. I mean, Colossus are pretty good against ghosts, but I mean, disruptor are pretty good as well.
They're kind of like banelings that you can reuse. Oh, wait. I'm not sure about that.
All right, a nice clump here for ZEST to shoot down, and these Colossus still standing tall. 3 Immortals here, adding some nice firepower, but but looks like oh man, this is a close battle, but I think ZEST just barely edges out. Unfortunately, he does not have any anti-air besides this lone Stalker, so the rest of the Colossus will go down.
Wow, what a scrappy battle that was.
Yeah, for a second, I actually didn't know who would come out on top, and I feel like they kind of came out pretty even, but even is not what is advantageous to Special, because he is quite behind on the economy, as ZEST is just expanding like a madman here, getting his 6th base right now before Special is even plotting down his 4th base.
I wonder if Special, number 1, sees all of these bases being taken, and then number 2, takes advantage of it, because since this map is so small, he can easily just move out with a clump of bio to deny this. Now, it does look like that is what's going on, as we do see a little bit of bio heading out.
And there it is. GG. ZEST takes game 1 of this best of 5 series. All right, and Special has some special tactics coming out here, as he is proxying a barracks out here. Oh my god, he's gonna scout? Nope, looks like he's not gonna scout it.
Oh man. Yeah, I was just about to say, that probe would be legendary if it went up that specific ramp at that specific time. But it looks like that's not going to be the case. It's just going to head directly on over to the left side of the map. Now, Snoopy, what do you think of this map in this Terran versus Protoss matchup?
I am going to be honest, I am not sure what to make of it too much. I don't think there's this, like, a glaring advantage for either of the races. I could be wrong about that. There is that gold base factor, and usually that tends to favor Terran players, because Terran armies are more mineral based, while Protoss is more gas based. But I haven't seen anything that's like too glaringly like OP or anything for a particular race. So yeah, I think it's just gonna come down to execution and also kind of adapting to their opponents here. And oh, look at here, the probe does scouts it, but is it too late? That is the question.
Now we do see that a Zealot was already produced earlier before that Cyber was finished, so for the time being, it looks like Zest is going to be able to fend off that Reaper and sacrifice a probe for it, but a Stalker is just about to complete, and I don't think Special should be able to get any more damage. Now he is kiting that Zealot excellently, but the probe is not receiving any damage as well, so I think this Reaper is just going to head on out of there. Yep. But we also see a proxy factory, so I mean, what do I know?
I mean, why not? I mean, who wants to build in their own base? I mean, just build out in the open.
Come on.
Right?
I mean, Terran buildings can fly anyways. We should treat them as units and not as buildings. Man, I love this. Oh man, here we go. We also see a proxy starport going down. Now, okay, what are the chances that that tech lab is for the starport?
You know, it could be very likely that it'll switch out with the starport and make Banshees, but it is also likely that it could be for tanks instead.
That's right.
And then the starport can add in the medevac or liberator into the fight. So yeah, this is gonna be a timing attack of some sort, an aggressive push by Special. There's a reason why he is proxying all these buildings, so he can rally his units to Zest's natural a bit quicker.
Yeah, now I do like Zest's setup on the low ground. We do see that he's sort of forming a half wall, if you will, so, you know, funneling all of the units into one direction, and I do appreciate that. I'm just not sure. Oh, is that Zealot? Oh, okay, that Zealot did scout the starport, I believe, so Zest is going to have some idea of what is up, and he is going to continue warping in more and more stalkers as it is now his job to defend against the incoming aggression from Special.
Yeah, Special also pulling some boys here. And by the way, thank you in the Twitch chat for reminding me about the score. Yep, the score is 1-0 for Zest, and Zest trying to defend here. It's going to be a tough one because there are two tanks here. The shield batteries not quite done yet. Only one of them is finished, right? And the Twilight Council at the front. That's going to get sniped down immediately.
Yeah, oh my gosh, look at that damage coming out of the tanks. The Twilight immediately goes down, so no blink is inside for Zest. Now that gateway is under heavy fire as well. The boys getting in on the action as well, and really, realistically, like, this is not enough stalkers. This is not enough defense, and I think Special might have done it in game number 2. We see the Liberator also sieging up. Probes are forced off the line, but when you've got probes going up against Marines and tanks, you are not in for a good fight. All of the probes are melted, and GG is called. Special brings it back.
Spawning here at the bottom right, we have our blue Protoss player playing for Dragon Phoenix Gaming, hailing from Korea. Make some noise for Zest.
And his red Terran opponent once again spawning in the top left corner of the map again with the early SCV and the proxy. It looks like it is Psystorm Gaming's Special.
Now, for those of you that are a little bit confused as to why Special is on Psystorm Gaming all of a sudden, he used to be on Exxon Gaming. However, they merged with Psystorm Gaming. Psystorm Gaming took over Exxon Gaming, so all the players on Exxon Gaming did transfer over to Psystorm Gaming, and so you do see that right now Special is under that Psystorm Gaming team name, and looks like so far no scouting, or not able to scout this barracks, but with early scouting into Special's main base, he does he should at least have some of the spidey senses tingling, as there is no barracks at home.
Yeah, now he still, Zest, that is, still puts down a low ground Nexus, so it looks like he is confident enough to be able to defend against whatever is coming for him. Now, I am intrigued, I have to say. So, I feel like, you know, Protoss of such high level, of such high skill have, you know, faced this a million times, but it is still interesting to see these little interactions. Now, the Reaper is going to be there a little bit earlier than usual, and that Stalker is just now starting, so it looks like that Reaper is going to have free reign of the low ground for now. And that probe gets on out of there real quick. Can this Reaper get some damage in before the Stalker comes out? Now, it looks like, yep, that first probe will go down. The Reaper just sort of backs off, knowing that the first Stalker is just about to pop. Now, a second Reaper is about to finish from the proxy, and we also see a Hellion, so does this indicate a bit more aggression from the Terran in the early game?
Yeah, I think he wanted to go for like a Hellion kind of push here, but Zest kind of cheekily actually plotted down a pylon next to the factory, so is not able to add in that the reactor add-on, and so it does slow down the push a little bit. And you can see he's kind of adapting to it and not following up with another Hellion. In fact, he's actually following up with a Widow Mine instead. Just in case there is a proxy. Oh man, he does get
a huge scout for Special, going down to the south just to sort of poke and see what's on the map. Now, these two Stalkers are going to threaten the immediate Hellion Reaper army, but that Widow Mine is going to keep them back for now. Now, Special is queuing up a bunker on the low ground, and he will need it when it comes to this early game, but that was a huge scout. Now Special knows what is up. Now, a good split on the Stalkers, preventing the second one from taking additional damage, but another Stalker comes to join the fight, as well as another Reaper, so already, before the 4-minute mark, we're seeing a pretty scrappy opener.
Yeah, Zest, I think he was trying to slip through, but wasn't quite actually far away. And oh my god, this is like the series of proxies right now. It's like chaotic all throughout, and oh my god, is Zest gonna really?
Oh my god, what are the chances that he puts down a? He's gonna put down shield batteries, isn't he? Now more Stalkers show up to the party, and they are going to go straight for the medevac, which is quite a good move. That is a lot of gas that was invested in. GG is actually called. Zest takes game number 3.
We'll see if let's see if Special can tie up the series and push it to a 5th game, or if this man here will be able to close out the series. Speaking of this man, he is rocking the blue paint, hailing from Korea and playing for Dragon Phoenix Gaming. It is Zest.
And his opponent down on match point, playing as the red Terran player for Psystorm Gaming. It is Special. Oh. Okay, that SCV was counted by Zest's first probe, and it looks like it will not be able to put down what looked like an NG Bay in the back, but yeah, okay, that makes more sense. He will start an NG Bay at the natural Nexus location. 3 probes are being pulled to sort of take care of that SCV and to, you know, start putting some damage on that NG Bay. Now, of course, NG Bays are the chosen building for Terrans to block because they have higher health, I believe. So it looks like for the time being, Special is going to try to be a little bit of a nuisance here in the early game. He does get the last minute cancel on the NG Bay, so it doesn't look like it's going to delay the actually, I mean, Nexus before Cyber. Now on this map, I believe that is fine, right? I'm not actually too sure.
Yeah, it's usually because the Oxide map here is a little bit further away. It's not like Beckett Industries, so yeah, usually the Protoss will throw down the Nexus before the Cybernetic because it will take a little bit longer for either the Reaper to go across the map. So yeah, that's the norm, and it looks like the engineering bay block didn't really quite delay Zest too much. Maybe, you know, a little bit of mining time lost because of the probes that had to be pulled, but not too shabby of a delay, and you know, they just go on into their merry way. into a normal opening, and look at here, Stargate being plotted by ZEST. So we did see ZEST with a nice Stargate play in the first series against Solar. Gonna bring it back here against Special this time around.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. Now, what are the chances that ZEST goes for a Void Ray opener? I feel like that is quite common nowadays, but I'm not actually too familiar with the Protoss versus Terran matchup. But yeah, if I were to take a guess, I would say that Void Rays are still rather common. Well, what do you think, Snoopy?
I think if it was a proxy Stargate, then Void Ray would have been, you know, a pretty good choice, a pretty good bet. But I think because he's placed it into his main base, he's probably going to go for Oracle or Phoenixes, and it looks like it will be Oracle. And the question is, will he make a second Oracle to follow up behind that, or will he stick with one Oracle and then transition into Phoenixes?
Man, I have not seen Phoenixes in a long time, but of course Oracles, you know, they are not bad whatsoever, being able to just do so many different things all for one unit. So it looks like that first Oracle is going to be rallied across the map. Now we will have to wait and see if it gets any sort of damage done. Now ZEST at the same time does have that one Adept on the front line, sort of scouting and trying to keep an eye out on how many SCVs are in the mineral line of Special. Now it looks like this first Oracle is going to just barely not get that second kill on the SCV, but it will find a second kill in the bottom mineral line, gets a third, and it looks like it will get out. No hull damage as well, so I'm sure ZEST is quite satisfied with how that went.
Yeah, he does have the second Oracle here, so he can go for some additional SCV kills. Look like he will go ahead instead, just send them back instead. And actually going for a third Oracle. Wow, he is pretty committed to this Oracle play.
Yeah, Oracles, of course, do bonus damage against light, and they actually have pretty incredible DPS, I would say. So, I mean, I definitely would not want an army of Oracles going up against my enemy's, you know, army of Marines. But hey, I mean, we've seen it happen before. But yeah, it looks like it's going to be 3 Oracles, name of the game, and a Twilight to follow up for ZEST.
Now, of course, there is a sneaky medevac with 2 Widowmine here at the backside. Gonna fly into the natural. Does ZEST respond in time? The answer is yes, he does pull the boys. But at the same time, these Oracles are having a heyday here at the natural of Special. There's no anti-air as all the Marines are out and about, moving across the map.
This is where it gets a little bit dicey, actually, because we do see this tank Marine army with some boys pulled as well are going to get into position, and ZEST is not going to be able to adequately defend his third Nexus. Now, he does do another warping of Stalker, so he is going to try and get up this ramp, but it looks like the tank will back up and actually siege on a very aggressive sort of stance. Now, at the same time, these Oracles have used up all of their energy just burning down whatever they can, but it does look like this third Nexus is not going to live, and this is a very interesting position. Oh my gosh, I didn't even notice that Liberator, but yeah, it got a bunch more kills as well. So both players are really taking down each other's eco. Oh my gosh, we see the NG Bay block as well as the last minute cancel, just trying to save whatever minerals he can is Special. But oh my gosh, what just happened, Snoopy? What?
Yeah, it's a classic. I'm gonna attack you right as I'm getting attacked, and yeah, the thing is, who came out on top? Let's go ahead and bring up the units lost tab. Resources wise, it's kind of even or so. The good thing is that Special did get the kill on that third base. However, a lot of SCVs were killed against the Oracles. They're gonna actually fly in, and there's really not a lot beside these Marines, and Stalkers can actually kite against these Marines. This tank really needs to siege up. There is no blink yet, so he can't blink on top of the tank, so he's gonna have to be careful. Yeah,
that Void Ray did come in quite clutch earlier, taking down the first tank, but look at this medevac micro, keeping that tank alive. It will finally siege up here on the low ground as the Stalkers are finally pushed back, sort of discouraged when the SCVs were pulled off the line. But wow, Special with that tank micro and also ZEST just picking off that first tank in the very beginning of that engagement with the Void Ray. So looks like 4 additional SCVs are going to go down here. But yeah, overall, I mean, I think that with that ending engagement, it looks like ZEST will pull a little bit ahead. But overall, that initial skirmish between the two, where it started with the Oracle harass and the Marine tank SCV push, I think taking that by itself into consideration, it still felt quite even. And, you know, to be fair, this is still anybody's game as we head into the 8-minute mark.
Oh man, I'm not sure if you noticed, but Zest actually sniped down his Void Ray. I think it was by accident. I think he misclicked, but he killed his own Void Ray there. But yeah, I just noticed that Stim actually just started. Combat Shield is not being even researched yet. And so, yeah, with that, and Zest getting his third base, I would say, yeah, Zest is in a pretty darn great spot. He's gonna have it's gonna take some time for Special to move across the map without that Stim upgrade.
That's right. Now, I do like this single medevac heading across with 8 Marines loaded up and ready to go. That is the kind of move that Terran needs to be making at this point in time. And hopefully, you know, it will be able to get some probe kills, get a scout off, see what's going on in the Protoss main base. But yeah, now these stalkers up front are going to prevent the Marines from coming out for a while longer. But that is 3 tanks sieged up and ready to fire. So now the medevac drop is going on in the main base of Zest. So a couple of stalkers are going to be warped in, trying to hold off these stimless Marines. It's so funny to see them sort of try to engage without Stim. But yeah, the rest of these stalkers are going to finally clean up that medevac, and overall only 2 probes went down. We do see some lost mining time as well, but no sort of critical damage was done on the Protoss.
Yeah, and that is not great news for Special, because he really needs to get something done. He needs to win some more of these battles in order to have a chance to win the war, but it just doesn't look like Special is going to be able to get any damage done. And looks like, yeah, +1 is about to finish for Zest. That is going to give him the upgrade lead. And only now is Combat Shield being researched, so these Marines are going to be a little bit weaker than what we would expect them to be at this stage of the game.
Yeah, definitely. Now, we do see both players are on +1 upgrades right now, but it looks like Special is going to try to make a timing of it. Now, I do like this move a lot, but Zest going for the counters, it looks like. So the tanks are left back at home, so I'm not too sure how much damage Zest will be able to do. Now, the first volley does go off. All the SCVs are actually pulled off the line. Bio is stimmed immediately. A bunch of SCVs are already going down. Stim is being used on the other side of the map as well, but it looks like Zest, with this main engagement, is going to try to break through. Or, nope, he is pulling back for the time being. These Archons up front are tanking and dealing a lot of damage, but at the same time, Zest's third Nexus has been dealt with by this small bio force and these 3 medevacs. So 25 SCVs have gone down, as well as a third Nexus. This is such a scrappy game because, I mean, it's already 11 minutes and Special is still on 2 bases with no third in sight. Now he will drop his bio into the main base, and oh man, just barely does that War Prison survive.
Oh man, you gotta give it to Special. He is making a game out of this. It was solidly in Zest's lead, but he took advantage of the kind of the army positioning of Zest. And then he just stimmed straight into the third base, knowing that Zest was moving across the map. And with the tank siege line at home, he was able to defend, but again, he did lose a lot of SCVs, as you mentioned. So all in all, you know, Special still in a little bit of a back foot here.
Yeah, back foot is definitely the word that I would use in this situation, because as you can see, not all of Special's production facilities are actually producing, and you can see this is why the economy is so crucial in StarCraft, because you need to be firing on all cylinders at all times in order to keep up with your opponent, and Special is just not able to keep up with his opponent right now. Zest already taking that supply lead back, and yeah, I don't know. I feel like this is either going to be a slow death for Special, or somehow miraculously Zest will somehow mess up this final engagement and then Special will be able to take a miraculous win, but I really doubt that that's the case. Now, we do see the tanks sieging up on the low ground as Special tries to engage with this bio. That is a lot of Archons, and that is a lot of charge lots, but keep in mind, this is a very low-tech army, and bio is always good to have, so I'm not too sure how this is going to go for either player.
Well, if there was ever a time that Special can somehow pick up the win, it's now when he does have the army supply lead. Although ZEST does have the +1 upgrade lead here, I wouldn't even be surprised to see Special just pull the boys. I mean, there's really not a chance for him to win the long game, so might as well, you know, add in some firepower, extra firepower into his army with the SCVs. But ZEST doing a nice job, kind of picking off the reinforcement, you know, fighting out in the middle here instead of back at home.
Yeah, and here we go. It looks like, oh, no, so ZEST will pull back just a little bit after shaving off just a little more of that bio. And like you said, his goal here is to sort of stall. And now that Storm is done, well, we actually have not seen a Warpin of High Templars in a while, but we do see a couple of moderate energy High Templar loaded up into that Warp Prism, which is going to, oh, and we see the first 2 Storms coming down. That pair of High Templar is immediately going to morph into Archons, but it looks like 2 Storms is all he needs, as GG is called. ZEST takes game number 4.